Hey man, sorry about the close quarters here. We are preparing for Winter Storm Benji, and we're preparing to be disappointed because we're always disappointed. We never get the weather they tell us we're going to get, which is a blessing. We're in a real protective little cove here on the east side of the Appalachian Mountains, and when weather comes from the west, it always gets deflected up around us, which is a blessing, but sometimes boring. But what I want to talk today is about the militia again, and as we said in a previous video, this is going to be an ongoing topic for us. And what I've been noticing in the comments, some of you men talking about how hard it is to find a group you trust or individuals you trust and would want to be involved with to form a militia. And it got me thinking that a lot of us we may have the wrong idea about what the militia is. So, of course, none of us really know how to do this. It's a lost institution from our past that we want to resurrect. But I thought it might be helpful at least to talk about what we know it's not. Because when I read you men talking about it, it's how do I find people I trust enough to be this close to, whose decisions I can trust. And I think you talk about being worried about someone doing something stupid or an informant or all this other stuff that is sort of baked into to our ideas of a mutual assistance group as opposed to the militia. We've gotten this idea in the militia of our head of SHTF, and when it all goes down, who we're going to band together with, and that's not what the militia is. So that guys are thinking, okay, if I'm going to form a militia, I have to find a man who is completely compatible with me, completely simpatico. We agree on all things. We're gonna agree to pull the trigger at the exact same time. If he starts something, I've got to be right there with him. And so it raises the standard so high that there's no way to do that. And I think that misses what the militia is all about. Because at its core, the militia is about, I don't want to say sovereign citizen because that has a lot of baggage. That term has a lot of baggage that comes with it. But there's a lot of good in that idea, where you never, ever, ever, ever surrender your moral authority as a man. What the militia is you training and preparing with the men around you to face external threats that everyone would agree on. The whole point of a militia is to decentralize power and control and authority and threat, and make our violence, our official violence, very difficult to coalesce isn't the right word I want, but to focus and intense. Oh, it started snowing. Oh, fun. When you make something more concentrated, I guess that's it. To make it very difficult to concentrate our official violence and focus it. You don't have to find that perfect man who you agree with on every level, because you're not surrendering your moral authority to him or that structure. You always maintain it. I have a video about the theory of revolution, and this is something it's core to who I am. You only have two inalienable rights: the right to choose if something's right or wrong, and the right to resistance. Those are the only two things that can't be taken away from you, and you would not surrender those by joining the militia. If the call went out for the general militia and you thought it was wrong, you would simply not show up. I mean, this is the checks and balance built into the general militia. I'm not a giant fan of democracy writ large, and yet in the militia there is this huge democratic element that keeps it from going nuts. So you don't need to find that perfect man, that perfect family, that perfect scenario where you trust him 100% with your life. You need to find a guy who doesn't trust you a little bit. The man you can trust is the man who's not willing to trust you. Well, this is starting to sound vaguely democratic here. But you know what I'm trying to say? A man who's not going to give up his moral authority to you. Who's going to say, this is right, this is wrong, I will not compromise on these things. And if you do something stupid, you want that guy next to you saying, "Hey, you're stupid. This is moronic. We're not going to go do this. This is destructive." That's a man you can trust. You kind of want someone a little different from you in some ways ideologically. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. A lot of the comments I've seen are these men saying, "God, I would love this. I really want this. This is right for the world. This is right for the country. How do I find that man I can trust?" I'm saying you don't need to find that man you can trust. I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, obviously you don't want to be going around with thieves and crazy people and predators and stuff and bringing these people in. But you know what? If you would be willing to go to dinner with a couple, that's probably a man who you can be involved in a militia with, because first off, you're not going to be doing anything illegal. You shouldn't be doing anything illegal, even by the crazy statutes of our modern Napoleonic code base. Don't get me started on all that. So you know what? Who cares if you pick up an informant? Are you doing anything illegal? No. Within reason. I mean, with the statute system we have today, it's impossible not to break some law all the time. So I guess here's my point. You know what? You're not creating a mutual assistance group here. A mutual assistance group, like Pastor Fox's Shofar Mountain, that is an intensely intimate, personal thing, and that is, you do want the exact right people. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the general militia. We're talking about, hey, there's wildfires sweeping through Southern California. Who are the men you're going to go get together with and make sure all the old people in your neighborhood are taken care of? That's the general militia. The general militia would do something like that. It's not all repelling Red Dawn, Some of it's mundane and boring and, in the South, I'm not sure how at other places, but the perfect infrastructure for the militia is the volunteer fire departments. And I'm not involved in the volunteer fire department. But think volunteer fire department with guns. Okay? I mean, it doesn't get any cooler than that. Anyway, man, there you go. That's what the militia isn't. The militia is not a mutual assistance group. The militia is not a commune. The militia is not this intensely intimate, concentrated social and sociological construct, compact. You're not on the Mayflower going to the New World and have to be able to trust this guy, like a brother. This is a man who you're going to train with, who you're going to get better with, and you're both going to go home to your separate houses at the end of the night and tell funny stories about what that goofball and the militia did. So adjust your thinking a little bit. This is not an impossible thing. It's not like finding, your soulmate, and then finding another soulmate and finding 33 soulmates you can form a platoon with. This is men who believe in freedom, men who believe in responsibility and whatnot, and that's it. And you're not responsible. If this guy, if some guy in your group, takes a rifle and storms the Pentagon, you don't have to go with him. You can just say, hey, I don't think this is an area for the general militia to get involved in. You stay home. This is the beauty. This is the absolute beauty of the general militia. Because when some guy gets good and crazy and storms the Pentagon and turns around and he's all by himself, no big deal. But if you get some general, some Petraeus or whatever these guys are who are going so far left wing on us right now, one of those guys goes crazy and he has the full force and weight of the federal government to bring down on the heads of individual soldiers. Suddenly, one crazy man can get us all into a world of trouble. So stop thinking that the militia is what we've come to think of as the military, or that intense mutual assistance group, or that the Shofar Mountain style intimacy. Which there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. That's a wonderful thing. But that's not what the general militia is. That's not what we're talking about. That's not what you're looking for. So anyway, there you go. I'm not sure where all this is going to take us. I'm not an expert. I certainly don't know how to do this. I don't know anybody who does. But we got to talk about it and work on it, man. We appreciate you. Thank you.